The Chinese Communist regime put on a global show with COVID-19. It claimed there were few, if any, deaths in most part of China, and then used this to claim its so-called zero-COVID policies of lockdowns and mandates were the solution. The world followed many of these policies while believing they were effective. Yet new data coming out from China suggests that not only has zero-COVID failed, but the number of deaths in China could be massive. We speak with Sean Lin, a former U.S. Army microbiologist who is currently an assistant professor in the Biomedical Science Department at Feitian College in Middletown, New York, and a member of the Committee of Present Danger China. He explains the evidence coming out from China of large-scale deaths and how the CCP's own policies may have been a cause. Hey, Sean Lin, thanks again for being here.
Hey, Joshua. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, those of you who don't remember, Sean Lin was actually one of the folks I interviewed on the COVID documentary. Way back, we're looking into the origins, and so I've known each other for a good while now.
Fast.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, we're seeing some new developments in China right now. Epoch Times has been calling into the crematoriums, and we're hearing something very interesting, which is there's like lines down the block. A lot of them have backlogs. They're allegedly the government's paying people to say it's like natural deaths. We're getting government documents from inside China showing the cover-up of larger scale deaths there than I think anywhere else in the world, and this severely contradicts what the CCP is saying. I mean, what's going on in your opinion? Because we're not seeing this outside of China.
Well, CCP has been lying actually from the beginning of the pandemic outbreak, and now I think it's a new continuation in a very different version. So we don't know actually. Even at the early Wuhan outbreak, we don't know how many people die due to that early wave without infection. And then for the last 3 years, the Communist Party keep emphasizing that they're using the very harsh zero COVID policy, and the governments claim they successfully contain the infection and then help save many people's lives. But I think actually this is a lie too. And recently, I actually took a look at the numbers released by Chinese Civil Affairs Administration, talk about the increase of incinerators, increase of crematory service, increase about funeral service, as well as the employees in the funeral service industry. All these numbers have significant jump in year 2020 and 2021. There's no other reason to explain it. And so I think that's definitely meaning that more people die actually in the last 2 or 3 years when China used zero COVID, but the government keep covering up this information. So they try to present to the whole world their hard lockdown, zero COVID policy was successful, right? So then the story had a dramatic turn at the end of last year, right? After November, when China finally, Xi Jinping continued the third term, and then they said open up at December 7th. And then you see so many people went to the hospitals. But I think it was like a bomb cyclone of the virus, new wave of infection happened in China. And it was so severe, covering so large area in China. So you see the social media reports from every part of China. Almost everybody talk about their cities. Have so many people got infected. They turn positive on the nucleic acid test, and many people go to the hospital, and many people turn to a severe symptom, and many people die. And then you see the phenomena, that long line in a funeral service, right? People even drive their own car, deliver the corpse to the crematories. So it was scary. I think I see so many different videos from so many different cities, and the number definitely cannot match the government's version. So I believe there's a tremendous number of people die in China, even just the last, now I can say 2 months. But the governments keep lying about it. And it's a very, very tragic situation that so many people die, and the government don't even count their deaths as COVID-infected deaths. The government keep restricting the definition of COVID deaths. Right? So nowadays, even people delivering their relatives' bodies to the crematoriums, the crematorium even order them, say, you cannot put COVID cause the death on the death certificate. So people were forced to lie. Otherwise, their family's dead body cannot be cremated. So it's a very, very deep cover-up.
Well, this ties into something else, which is, look, in the West, a lot of people see what's happening in China, and they're like, "Oh, it's the CCP basically trying to do a scare tactic again." It's like boy who cried wolf, The kid keeps crying wolf, and then one day people don't believe him anymore when there's actually a wolf. In the early days of COVID, we saw these videos coming out of China, people dropping dead on the streets and all kinds of stuff, and pretty much the whole world locked down following the CCP's model. A lot of people think that this is the CCP basically playing a game and forcing people into totalitarian policies. And when they hear news about China now, they're like, CCP crying wolf. They're probably trying to export the virus again or cause global lockdowns. What's your perspective on this?
I think from one perspective, the CCP's efforts in driving their lockdown model to the whole world was kind of successful because many people in the public health couldn't get any other data from China. They can only use official data. And many people actually promote the concept of lockdowns, severe quarantines and social distancing, all these kind of measures, basically following the successful model of China. And even WHO high-ranking officers, even WHO senior-ranking officers, they also praise China's lockdown. And many people even have a general impression of China's hard lockdown, zero-COVID policy, maybe too harsh, maybe causing some collateral damage, but they at least successfully contained the pandemic. That's actually a very, very false illusion that many people had because the CCP keep lying about it for the last 3 years. And so now people say, oh, this is now the new wave of death is simply because they loosen up. And this is also unavoidable. So many people still are falling into the trap of the CCP lies again. But I think this time the death toll is so high. And the people can easily see, right? Because if you are in a lockdown, you cannot go out to see the line for the crematoriums. Now you can see the jam up in the hospitals. So people definitely know, and you can tell, your more relative die these times, surround your family. So it's I think, terrible situations.
Yeah, well, and this is important too, because I know some people are saying zero COVID itself may be the cause of this outbreak in China, that the CCP's own lockdown policies may be contributing to this. So do you think there's any validity to that? What's your perspective?
I believe actually the zero COVID policy definitely make the whole population vulnerable because people need a healthy lifestyle. People need to expose to the natural environment. People need to breathe the fresh airs. People need to get a normal diets, right? Under harsh lockdown, many people cannot get, ample supply of foods, vegetables, and many people were locked down at home. Many people turn into a very bad, rhythm of daily lives. So, and also mental stress, right? You remember in China in the lockdown time, there's one phenomena that people yelling out in their residential building in the evening, right? People have so much stress inside that they even have to yell out to release the stress. And so I think the mental health burden is so strong.
From the balconies and stuff.
From the balconies. So actually, in a certain sense, I think the whole Chinese population is actually like PTSD, suffering, patients suffering from this lockdown. And so, and people's immune system get weakened during this lockdown period. And it was months of lockdown, right? Even Shanghai suffered 2-3 months of lockdown. So I think many people's health conditions are damaged. So now, if you have a huge virus infection explosion, I like to describe it like a bomb cyclone that we experienced at the end of last year. So when you have so much viral load landed on this land, and then so many people got exposed to the virus, and their immunity is weak. So now you will get many people got severely infected. And at the same time, the Communist Party did not prepare enough basic medicines, even like antipyretic medicines to reduce fevers. All these drugs are in severe shortage because government controls its production during the zero COVID period. So now people got infected, they got fever, even down cannot get access to enough this medicine to reduce the fever. So more people have severe symptoms, and more people in the ICU, and more people die.